Welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you the glimpses of South Asia. I'm your host Yeshi. Here are the headlines. Kashmiris in POK and other parts of the world observed 22nd October as Black Day against Pakistani occupation. Hundreds protest in Bangladesh demanding end of workplace sexual harassment against women. And Indians cherish famous religious play Ram Leela during Navratri festival. Let's begin the show. While Indian COVID trajectory is appearing promising in last 2 weeks, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants citizens to be more cautious amid the festive season in the country. While addressing the nation in view of growing complacency among some sections of the society, Prime Minister urged people to not put their guard down until a vaccine for COVID-19 was developed and distributed.
With single-day infections hovering around 55,000 against the average recovery of approximately 65,000 per day, India seemed to have gone past its peak period. The second most populous country, which recorded over 95,000 cases for several consecutive days in mid-September, India has successfully brought down its active case load to fewer than that of US and several other developed European countries in past 2 weeks. The testing has been vigorous and the positivity rate is one among the lowest in the world. However, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who addressed the nation at the outset of a long festive season in the country, urged citizens to be responsible and not undo the progress India's sustained efforts have yielded in past few months.
त्योहारों के इस मौसम में बाजारों में भी रौनक धीरे-धीरे लौट रही है, लेकिन हमें ये भूलना नहीं है कि लॉकडाउन भले चला गया हो, वायरस नहीं गया है। बीते 7-8 महीनों में प्रत्येक भारतीय के प्रयास से भारत आज जिस संभली हुई स्थिति में है, हमें उसे बिगड़ने नहीं देना है।
India's national case fatality rate has come down to 1.51%, with state and federal governments aiming to further bring it down to 1%. Observers and experts say that these numbers can grow better if the coronavirus norms are properly followed and if people do not grow complacent on seeing a positive trend. Indian pharmaceutical companies that account for production of largest number of vaccines around the world are front and center at the race to supply effective vaccines to the world. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation says that world cannot be immunized without India. Government says that it has laid out a roadmap for the distribution of the vaccine whenever it is ready. Each single Indian will be vaccinated, PM said.
मानवता को बचाने के लिए युद्ध स्तर पर पूरी दुनिया में काम हो रहा है। अनेक देश इसके लिए काम कर रहे हैं। हमारे देश के वैज्ञानिक भी वैक्सीन के लिए जी जान से जुटे हैं। भारत में अभी कोरोना की कई वैक्सीन पर काम चल रहा है। इनमें कुछ एडवांस स्टेज पर हैं, आशास्पद स्थिति दिखती है। साथियों, कोरोना की वैक्सीन जब भी आएगी, वो जल्द से जल्द प्रत्येक भारतीय तक कैसे पहुंचे, इसके लिए भी सरकार की तैयारी जारी है।
Meanwhile, the country has started showing green shoots after months of economic downturn owing to the pandemic. International Monetary Fund says the country's economy will rebound with a growth rate of around 8.8% in next fiscal year. While everyday shopping markets are yet to restore the pre-COVID energy and opulence, various other sectors are already on a swift recovery path. A steady rise in the stock market reflects the ground situation. New Delhi, meanwhile, has announced one more economic stimulus to boost the demand by $10 billion in coming months. The government says it is ready to take all measures to protect everybody who has been affected by the pandemic.
Moving on, Kashmiris across the world observed the Black Day on 22nd October. They shouted anti-Pakistan slogans while demanding freedom from its clutches. Pakistan has misruled the region for more than 73 years and has now ramped up its exploitative designs in collusion with China to further plunder it. It has used brute force to muzzle the voice of demand and dissent and is now working overtime to change the demography of the region so that it has free run with the projects it wants to install in the region.
Observing 22nd October as Black Day, people in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir took to streets and carried out a march against the occupier Pakistan. Carrying floats demanding freedom from the clutches of Islamabad, they sloganeered against the political masters of the country, who they accused of plunder and exploitation. Kashmiris observed the day as Black Day because it was on this day in 1947 when Pakistan's tribal militias attacked the region and gained control over its resources and affairs. Fearing his and his people's lives, the ruler of the then princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, Hari Singh, signed the instrument of accession with New Delhi on 26 October 1947, subsuming his entire territory into the sovereign nation of India. But Pakistan never vacated the place and has been illegally occupying thousands of kilometers of territory even today. It has even disregarded the United Nations in doing so. Kashmiris in POK, however, say that they will never accept Pakistan as their parent or home state and will continue their struggle until they ensure freedom.
किसी सूबे को, किसी साजिश को, किसी मजबूर और कलाकारी तनाज़े पर तफरीक को नहीं मानते और हम रियासत जम्मू कश्मीर की आज़ादी, खुद मुख्तारी और वहदत की बहाली के लिए जदोजहद करने का ऐलान करते हैं और हम ये वादा करते हैं कि पाकिस्तान कश्मीर को पर कब्जा करने का खौफ देखना छोड़ दे।
The anti-Pakistan anger is not just limited to the confines of Pakistan-controlled territories, but it has been simmering amongst Kashmiris living around the globe. From Washington to Tokyo, to Malaysia to Nepal, a number of Kashmiri activists and their supporters observed the Black Day. They also highlighted the state-sponsored atrocities being committed by Pakistan in the region. Pakistan, they said, has been employing excessive force to muzzle the voice of demand and dissent. The press is censored so that the world doesn't get to know the reality. They also said that Islamabad has been working overtime to peddle lies on Kashmiri history, to change present narrative and to bring a favorable change in future through demographic alteration. However, Kashmiris are not buying any of its tricks and have called out its dubious designs both at home and at international platforms. Meanwhile, Kashmiris in India, who unlike Pakistani state are equal and empowered citizens of the country, asked Pakistani PM and army generals to stay away from Kashmiri affairs.
मैं गुजारिश करूंगा इमरान खान साहब को और जनरल को कि प्लीज़ आप अपना ध्यान रखें। जहां पे आपकी गवर्नमेंट चलाती है आर्मी और हमें आप तकलीफ दे रहे हैं, आपको उससे क्या मिलेगा? आप अपना ध्यान रखें, हमें अपना काम करने दें, हम अपने कार्य में हैं। वी आर अ प्रोग्रेसिंग कंट्री, सो वी रिक्वेस्ट यू इमरान खान साहब, आप अपने काम से मतलब रखें।
Pakistani Prime Minister makes tall claims of working tirelessly for the welfare of Kashmiris. United Nations and other right groups, however, have termed its actions as human rights violations. Army generals who hold greater sway in the country's politics are the de facto administrators of the region. They have had no regards for the democratic functioning and have accorded a second-class citizen treatment to the people. Kashmiris in POK do not enjoy rights at par with the people of Pakistan. Demands receive brute backlash. In such a situation, it is really difficult to not say that Kashmiris in Pakistan do not have just one black day, but their entire life seems to have been darkened and defeated.
हम क्या चाहते हैं? हम क्या चाहते हैं? हम लेके रहेंगे, हम लेके रहेंगे। है हक हमारा, है हक हमारा।
Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Healthcare products are becoming popular among millennials and those from Generation Z as health awareness goes mainstream. Chinese office workers can spend an average of 8 to 9 hours a day working in front of the computer, with some continuing to work late into the night. In order to stay alert and fit, more and more young people are using healthcare products like nutritional supplements and massage devices. Data from one e-commerce platform showed increased prices of healthcare products this year, especially during the country's annual online shopping festival on June 18, known as 618. Sales of products including eye massages, protein powders, and vitamin supplements have increased several times year on year, the data showed. Millennials and Gen Zers say the high prices are worth it to stay healthy. Although vitamins and healthcare products can provide some support, experts say a healthy lifestyle is still the best way to remain fit. Yokohama Stadium will hold 3 baseball games at around 80% capacity later this month as Japan looks to test its COVID-19 countermeasures at big events ahead of the rearranged Tokyo Olympics next year. Avid Japanese baseball fans are returning to the stands with masks on as the country tests its capacity for major sporting events ahead of next year's Tokyo Olympics. Various COVID-19 countermeasures were in place for the Yomiuri Giants game at the Tokyo Dome. Spectators underwent temperature checks, disinfected their hands, and gave their contact information to staff before entering the venue. And Giant spokesman Masatoshi Yamada says that's not all. Professional sports stadiums in Japan have been kept at half capacity so far. but Yokohama Stadium, which will also be used during the Olympics, confirmed in a statement that they would host 3 games later this month at around 80% capacity. Yamada says that Olympics officials had visited the Tokyo Dome and seen the precautionary health measures for themselves. And fans like Yoshiko Matsuo say they felt safe and thrilled to be back watching their favorite team. Tokyo Games organizers have yet to decide whether to allow fans inside venues during the Olympics. China's smart grid industry is expected to reach nearly 80 billion yuan, about $12 billion by the end of the year, data from the Chinese Academy of Industry Economy Research shows. According to a report released by the Academy, the State Grid Corporation of China is expected to invest more than 384 billion yuan, around $58 billion into the country's smart grid in 2009 and 2020, accounting for about 11% of its total grid investment. Thanks to the investments, profits from smart grid construction are rising. The pace of technological development for smart grid equipment is also increasing, says Tang Kai, Manager of Research and Development Department of Anhang Intelligent Technology. Besides profiting from construction and digital transformation, other smart grid companies say new orders for equipment and products are also helping to lift revenue.
Moving on, an enormous public outcry following a brutal rape in Bangladesh has triggered a fresh debate on the safety of women in the country. While the government has pushed for a strong deterrence through death penalties for rapists, experts believe that a lot of other things are required to be assessed and altered to bring a real change in the society. A large number of women who gathered courage to come up front post-countrywide protest have unveiled a widespread culture of sexual exploitation at workplace in the country. Recently, hundreds of them demonstrated and urged authorities to bring changes into laws that they say didn't ensure a safe environment at their workplace. Hundreds of protesters led by female garment workers took to streets in capital Dhaka, calling for a more friendly workplace and a new labour law that would protect women from sexual harassment and abuse at factories. Bangladesh, which ranks behind only China as a supplier of clothes to Western countries, relies on the garment industry for more than 80% of its exports and about 4 million jobs. Nearly 85% of the workers in these factories are women. But even then, due to an inherent discriminatory attitude against the women has hampered their safety in the factories.
আমরা আজকে এখানে আসছি বাংলাদেশের শ্রম আইনে যৌন হয়রানি নির্যাতন প্রতিরোধমূলক কোনো আইনের আওতার মধ্যে ভুক্ত নাই সেই আইন নাই বলে আজকে কলকারখানায় বিভিন্ন জায়গায় শ্রমিকরা নির্যাতিত হচ্ছে এবং ধর্ষণ হচ্ছে।
The government of Bangladesh had introduced labour laws for the country in 2006, but critics say that it has failed in addressing gender-based violence, including sexual harassment at the workplace. A nationwide study in 2018 had said that 85% of female garment workers face verbal abuse, 71% faces mental torture, 21% face physical torture, and 13% face sexual abuse. According to a report in US Senate committee, while the factory safety had improved relatively since the Rana Plaza disaster of 2013, Bangladesh was backsliding on the workers' rights. The Senate committee had urged authorities to do more to protect the labour rights, but things haven't changed much on the ground.
নতুন আইন নতুন বিধি সংশোধন করুক, এটাই আমাদের প্রত্যাশা। কারণ আজকে দেখা যাচ্ছে শ্রমবান্ধব নারী বান্ধব কর্মপরিবেশ এবং আইন না থাকাতে নারী এবং বিশেষ করে শ্রমজীবী নারী এবং শ্রমিকরা পদে পদে বঞ্চিত হচ্ছে। এখন বর্তমানে যে রুলস তৈরি হচ্ছে বা সংসদে যাবে সেটা শ্রমিকদের পক্ষেই না, সেটা শ্রমিকদের বিপক্ষে। তাই আমরা বলতেছি শ্রমিক বান্ধব আইন এবং শ্রমিক বান্ধব রুলস সংশোধন করুন।
The number of females contributing to labor force of the country rose to nearly 16% in 1996 to over 36% in 2017. But even this trend hasn't been able to deter criminals. Some say it is not just one crime, but women in Bangladesh are subject to a number of discrimination and indoor crime, many of which are not even reported in the media, and even fewer reach the courts. Nearly 1/3 of them had become victim of the growing dowry demands and familial conflicts, while many others were subject to violence driven by domestic affairs and extramarital relation. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government has taken a host of measures and floated a number of policies to empower women, and it has helped grow a number of them in recent, but that hasn't been able to curb the rate of crime against women. Being a melting pot of various religious and cultural backgrounds, India celebrates the true spirit of life through several festivals throughout the year. Though celebrated in different ways, almost all the festivals mark the victory of good over evil. One among them is Dussehra, that commemorates Lord Ram defeating demon king Ravan and is celebrated with utmost traditional fervour in different parts of the country. In some parts of India, especially in northern states, a centuries-old series of mythological play based on the life of Lord Ram, known as Ram Leela, is performed. The much-awaited play, which till date managed to capture the imaginations of both young and old alike, is the quintessential element of Navratri and Dussehra festivals. South Asia Today will show you some.
Donned in colourful traditional costumes, the actors are playing the characters of the great Hindu epic Ramayana in a theatrical manner called Ram Leela. Performed during the annual 9-night Navratri festival, Ram Leela tells the journey and teachings of Hindu Lord Ram, including his childhood, annihilation of forest demons, his marriage with Mithila princess Sita, her abduction by demon king Ravan, and the subsequent war to free her and kill Ravan.
मुझे अपनी चरण पादुका दे दीजिए।
The story is narrated in a typical style with devotional songs and dances performed on the tunes of popular Bollywood numbers.
राम भक्त ले चला रे राम की निशानी, राम भक्त।
Every year, thousands of people across the country watch the play, which is performed in almost all the cities in India with much adoration and fervour.
राम भक्त ले चला रे राम की निशानी।
However, this year, with the restrictions on gathering in place, the repertoires in various cities have decided to broadcast the play online.
जब प्रभु श्री राम का मंदिर का भव्य निर्माण हो रहा है, उसी दौरान ये कार्य करने का अवसर मुझे प्राप्त हो रहा है, तो ये बहुत ही बड़े सौभाग्य की बात है। और मैं चाहूँगा कि प्रभु श्री राम का आशीर्वाद, भोले बाबा का आशीर्वाद सभी पर हो, सभी पर प्रभु अपनी कृपा दृष्टि बनाए रखें।
Similar scenes were witnessed in the city of Nawabs, Lucknow, where actors have played different characters from Ramayana and performed inside a temple and broadcasted the show online due to the coronavirus pandemic. characters dressed to suit the perfect role play, with Hanuman and the evil characters to providing all the delight to the kids. The play also propagates the ideal way of living, and the Hindu devotees consider Lord Ram and Goddess Sita as the epitome of perfection. The final day of Ram Leela, or 10th, is the burning effigy of egoistic Ravan along with his brother Kumbhakaran and his son Meghnad. It is followed by the grand fireworks at the place.
आज तक 600 वर्ष में कभी हमारी रामलीला बाधित नहीं हुई। कभी प्लेग आई, कभी कोई महामारी आई, कभी कुछ हुआ, लेकिन रामलीला का कार्य निर्बाध रूप से चलता रहा है। इस कोरोना संक्रमण में भी जब तक गाइडलाइन नहीं आई, तब तक हम लोगों के भी मन में बहुत तरह के ऐसे विचार बन रहे थे कि कैसे क्या करेंगे हम, अगर करें भी तो यहाँ देखेगा कौन। फिर ऐसा विचार बना कि हम इसको ऑनलाइन करेंगे।
The crux of Ramayana lies in the fact that no matter how powerful evil is, it will always be defeated by good. Means truth always wins over poisonous lie. These festivals of India bring color to the otherwise monotonous life and manifest the dynamic culture of the country.
It's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We will be back next week at the same time. This is Yeshi signing off from the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.